it's dual meet action in the Eagle as the Towson Tigers get ready to take on the Temple Owls. Welcome everyone inside McGonigal Hall. I'm Kevin Kopp alongside former Temple Owl Lauren Capone. Lauren, happy Alumni Day to you. Welcome back to McGonigal. And we've got another season of gymnastics here in Philadelphia, and this should be a really great test for both teams. We're 3 weeks into the season, only the second meet for Towson, but they're the defending Eagle champions. Temple hasn't necessarily got off to the start that they've wanted to see this year. This is a great test for two teams that have postseason aspirations in March.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for Temple, it's all about consistency. They just haven't put all 4 events together and gone 6 for 6 on each of those events. But if they do, I think they're going to get a great score at home. And I think coming home is another benefit for them. But this is a, small rivalry as old as time from even my time there. So I'm excited to see kind of the two TUs go head-to-head once again.
Well, and it's a new look for the Eagle this year. Towson, though, is the defending champion, so that hasn't changed. They're setting the standard for what we expect this conference to be. And for Temple, it's a new era because they've got a brand new head coach in Hillary Steele taking over the program this season. She coaches her first meet at home. Should be a lot of excitement for her and for this team to compete for her this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, there's been some coaching changes over the last few years for Temple, and Hillary was here last year as an assistant and, kind of got that promotion in the off season. So I think that there's some changes going on within the whole program, but they've got a great group of girls, and like I said, the skills and the difficulty are there for them on all the events to be competitive in the conference. And so once I think they put it together, they'll be looking really, really good.
She's got experience at the top level of the sport. USA national team. She was a 2-time national champion at Georgia under Suzanne Yocklin. She was an individual vault champion, so she's got a really storied career and has worked her way up through the collegiate coaching ranks, a volunteer at Maryland, an assistant coach here last season, part of a really good year for Temple that maybe didn't just quite end the way they wanted it to. So be interesting to see how Temple navigates the transition. And again, always helps when you're on your home floor. This is the first of 4 home meets this season here for Temple. It's the only home duel also, which has a little bit of a different feel to it, Lauren. And I think it's good to test your timing because there's going to be a longer gap in between events. We'll alternate between Temple on vault and Towson on bars. It's just a freshman, Hannah Weckler, leading off for Temple.
Yurchenko layout half with a step to the side, but a really good start with a gymnast who's got a really cool story that we just really found out about. Hannah was a walk-on, a true walk-on, truly was a student here at Temple, was not part of the traditional recruiting process as many are, and from my understanding, kind of just raised her hand and said, hey, I think I'd like to join. And here she was kind of kicking things off in a home meet for the first time. Really
neat story, a walk-on, true walk-on to this team. And now getting the night underway for Towson on the other end for the visiting Tigers. This is Lauren Keener.
Really solid start. A nice hit routine, tried to fight for that stuck landing. Had a little bit of a wobble. They're cracking down on the stuck landings this year.
Well, you can see it's such a big change, Lauren, with having to hold that stick for 1 second. What we've gone to is from trying to salute as quickly as possible to kind of cover up that potential shuffle. You really get that extra fight for a stuck landing. I think it's been a change for the better. It's easy for me to say, having never competed in this sport. I think it's great, but it is just a totally different mentality that you have to have.
100%. It is, and it's a good mentality that you should have as, maybe a abuser of the college stick back in the day. I think it's a great, great shift.
Perfectly within the rules back then. Peyton Monk up second for Temple.
Great Yurchenko full, just a hop back, but I really liked her body position in the air. She had her chest up really nicely while she landed. Take a look at it one more time. Beautiful positioning, a little bit of a pike down. I think if she would have just sort of squeezed on the way down, she might have even saw herself with a stick, but a really, really solid Yurchenko full for Temple.
So Temple 2 vaults in to their night, and Towson will get ready to go on bars as we await the opening scores of the evening. Just a refresher, since it is meet 1 of the season, 6 gymnasts on each event. Drop the lowest score, the top 5 count. We will also see some exhibitions from teams throughout the night tonight, and a little bit of an extra delay here as we get set on bars. It'll be Clara Hong up second for the visiting Towson Tigers, just waiting on the opening score here for Keener.
The best thing about a duel for those watching at home is that you will get to see every routine. They go one at a time. So if you're tuning in either to catch the Owls or the Tigers or just happy to be here, you'll get to see every single routine as it goes.
It really is such a nice change from the frenetic pace of the quad meet, where you have to keep your head on a swivel at all times to know what's going on. And don't forget, this is the first meet for everyone, including our score flashers. So it took a little while, but we got there for a 9.75 to open the meet for Lauren Keener. And with that, Clara Hong will be ready to go second as soon as she gets the go-ahead from the judges.
You'll see all different types of mounts over on bars in between the bars, from behind the low bar, behind the high bar. Really nice single bar release. It's a bail to handstand, back up for the dismount. Keeping an eye out for those hit handstands. Those will be some big changers. A double front dismount, deep squat. I couldn't tell from my angle if her knee did hit. She had a couple mats stacked there. If her knee did hit, that will, I believe, be considered a fall and take off a considerable amount. But it could have just been a deep squat that she saved there with that step. But otherwise, a beautiful routine, great lines, really impressive release moves and connections.
And now ready to go back over to Temple. Up third is Hannah Stallings.
Yurchenko full. Really nice in the air as well, just that step back.
You can see that opening vault score has come in for Hannah Weckler, a 9.75. Peyton Monk followed with a 9.775. Now another look at Stallings up third.
Now she landed just on that line. As you can see, those white lines sort of indicate the ideal place for the gymnast to land. There's no, I think, automatic deduction for stepping outside, but a guideline, if you will.
The judges can take from 1/10 up to 3/10. It's not a neutral deduction like stepping out of floor, when we'll get there later in the evening, where you have the red tape around the perimeter, and any step outside of that is an automatic 1/10 deduction. But we're in year 2 of those directional lines on vault, borrowing a little bit from the elite look here, bringing that to college. And we have a quick score for Hannah Stallings up third, a 9.75. So that's where Temple's been here. And they have 6 9.95 start value vaults. They don't have any 10-0s in the lineup, so those deductions are coming out of a 9.95 start value for both the Yurchenko layout full and the layout half, which is in that blind landing position that you saw earlier from Weckler. Bars has been a little bit slower on their scoring. We had an opening 9.75 from Lauren Keener, awaiting the score here from Clara Hong, and then up third will be Lauren Green. The rest of the bars lineup for Towson: Cami Vitoff, Grace Valancourt, and Isabella Minervini. Up third, here is Lauren Green.
Really unique combination that she has here. Into a piked Jaeger and immediate shoot over. Tons of bonus in that combination to get that difficulty up. So she does reach that 10-0 start value. Double tuck dismount. Really nice, just took the step. Towson looking solid with their first 3 athletes up.
They opened their season last week, so they didn't have a week 1 competition. They scored a 195.225 last week in a tri-meet at Ohio State, so this is week 2 for them. They'll open at home next week as we go back to vault for Temple.
Summer Rusky, Yurchenko full with a stick. Really solid. Gets to don the stick crown, hopefully without falling.
Get another look here.
A little bit of separation on the way down, but you can't deny the stick, and she did hold it really nicely, soaked it in, showed that control.
And Temple has built their scores nicely, as Stallings actually scored a 9.8 upon correction. We had that initially as a 9.75. It was a 9.8 for Hannah Stallings, so we'll see if Rusky can continue to build on those scores for Temple with the first stick of the evening. And they still have Renee Shugman and Mackenzie Aresta, 2 of their veterans, at the 5 and 6 spots in the lineup. Meanwhile, score coming in for Towson on bars will be a 9.775 for Lauren Green.
And as we kind of move through kind of the halfway point of these lineups, I think that it's always helpful to remember that that magical 49 number is sort of what we're going for with the 6-up, 5 scores count.
Yep.
Ideally, each of these teams are striving to hit a score of 49 or higher. That's really going to get them to a place where they can then build a strong case to contend for regionals and beyond.
Yeah, 4 times 49, if you do that across all 4 events, gets you a 196. And to do that, you're trying to average a 9.8 as we go up 4th. This is Cami Vitoff on bars.
And unfortunately cast it over, had a really, really powerful mount where she jumped over the low bar. So she'll get 30 seconds to collect herself, re-chalk up if she needs to, and get back on the apparatus.
And so unfortunately for Towson taking a fall here, so this will be the score, as we've talked about, 6-up, 5 count. This will be the score that they would like to drop. They've got Grace Valancourt and Isabella Minervini, 2 really good bars workers in their 5 and 6 spots. So be looking for 2 hit routines after this one.
A Ginger to direct shoot over. Nice combination there. A little shy on that last handstand, maybe just hoping not to cast over again. Huge dismount, small hop. And after a fall, that's really the best you can do. Try to protect any amount of tense that you can in the routine. You never know what's going to happen to the athlete coming up next to you, so she got back on, did her job.
All right, back to Temple now on vault. Up 5th is Renee Shugman.
Yurchenko layout full. Really high in the air and had a little bit of a pike down, which is why she had to take that step back. Over-rotated just a little bit, but had huge power coming off the table.
Yeah, you can see if you can kind of picture those early Temple vaults in your mind and then kind of compare it side by side against Shugman, just how far that was, that block coming off the table that she gets. What a terrific gymnast she's been for Temple over her career.
And she followed, I believe I saw a 9.875 for Summer Rusky. Great score.
That is correct. Rusky 9.875. That's the high score so far for Temple. So they've hit their 5, and now Mackenzie Aresta gets a pressure-free routine in the anchor spot for Temple. You're also expecting to see a couple of exhibitions on vault for the Owls. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Right now, waiting on the score here for Vitoff after the fall. And it's going to be a 9.25. So again, that's the number you want to drop, and they've got the gymnasts to do it with Grace Valancourt and Bella Minervini in the 5 and 6 spots. Here is Valancourt for Towson.
She'll go blind change to a straddle Jaeger, immediate shoot over, really, really nice. Gearing up for the dismount, double A, small hop, beautifully done. A great routine to bounce back from a fall in the lineup. That's exactly how you want to respond, get things back on track. She can set up Minervini for a great round out there over on bars for the Tigers.
All right, last routine in competition for Temple in this first rotation, senior Mackenzie Aresta.
Another Yurchenko full, a small hop, very nicely done. That was a very solid all-around effort for Temple on vault. I think moving forward, they'll look for more sticks and, really tighter landings, but that has to be a good, solid foundation for them to kick this meet off of. Get some of those, first home meet jitters out of the way. There's a lot of energy at a first home meet. You just really want to, put on a good show, and they are well on their way to doing just that.
Well, and as you can see, we've been talking about those magic numbers, and Temple's there already. They're at a 49. They can only add to it, and likely will. The low score to drop is a 9.75 from Weckler. I think this will be a tick higher from Aresta. Then we'll see what the judges think. And now we have one more competition routine on bars. This will be Bella Minervini. Very important routine here from Towson. Need a hit to drop that earlier fall.
Immediate Tkachev to pack salto. She's got great toe point and form going through all of this. She'll head back up to the high bar. Beautiful handstand. Double A. And a stick to put a good exclamation point on the end of that rotation for Towson. They really needed it, and they got a good one. I believe that'll probably be the high score for them over on bars.
Yeah, she came out of the gate last year as a freshman, just a really, really terrific competitor. She opened her sophomore season 9.875 last week on bars. This is a really good event for her, and we'll see what it scores. Meanwhile, for Temple, first of 2 exhibitions, that's Amelia Budd.
Another solid Yurchenko full.
By the way, you see the vault score update for Temple as a 9.825 for Aresta, so they will tick up slightly to a 49.075.
And a big cheer over from the Tigers. Bella grabbed a 9.9 for that bar routine.
And we're going to get another look at it here.
Huge double A dismount, full extension, and there was no question about that stick.
All right, so that is a new season high for Minervini, and what a time for it. They get to drop that 9.25, so you're going to see that 48.225 shoot up momentarily as we go into exhibitions now for Towson. And this will be Amanda Petticelli.
Starts off with a Maloney, immediate pack salto. She went to do the switch kip and got a little out of control, just kind of lost, I think, a little bit of the form there. She'll go blind change, double front, makes it onto her feet with a step back. A really nice exhibition. I mean, just to clean up some of those things that she had, she, put the whole routine together. It's packed with difficulty. Once she cleans those things out, that'll be a really solid routine to add to Towson's depth lineup.
Both of these teams going to flex a little bit of extra depth here and go 8 deep in this first rotation. And finishing up for Temple, Haley Best in exhibition.
A freshman with a really unique vault. She does a back full onto the table. So if you're not looking close enough, you might even miss it. She round offs onto the springboard, does a full twist onto the table, and then we'll tuck off. You don't see it that often, but it's a great vault. I believe the last gymnast to do it at Temple was Daisy Todd.
Oh, might have been, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
Shout out to Daisy.
Yes, who ended up being an NCAA Regionals individual qualifier for Temple. Great career here.
Yeah, it's great to see that depth over on vault. They, although, as we mentioned, don't have the 10.0 start value, having really clean Yurchenko fulls and some of those more unique vaults can get you just exactly what you need, as we talked about, up to that 49 and beyond.
And our very last routine before our first break of the evening, this will be Chelsea Dennis in exhibition for Towson.
Blind change Pike Jaeger was just a little bit far. I think she maybe got her dowels on there and came off. She'll pick back up with the shoot over down to the low bar. Really unique dismount there. She went toe on to a pike front half. Always good to see some unique dismounts on any event, really. Very nicely done. Aside from the fall, a really solid effort, really good skills within that entire Towson lineup.
Yeah, I think first rotation that both teams will be plenty happy with. Towson avoids counting the fall on bars. They score a 48.875 at the end of one rotation, but it's Temple in the lead here at home by 0.2 as they go 49.075 on vault. Well, as we said, this is a new era for the Temple gymnastics program under head coach Hillary Steele, and we're going to hear from Coach Steele when we come back. Her vision for the program, moving from the assistant coach to head coach role here in North Philadelphia. That's next as we continue on ESPN. back, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of one rotation. Temple in the lead here in their home opener, 49.075 on vault, 48.875 for Towson on bars. We'll switch here in rotation 2 as the Tigers go to vault and Temple goes to bars. Kevin Kopp, Lauren Capone with you. And Lauren, I think, as we said, both teams have to feel pretty good about the start, hovering right around that 49 mark. We saw some excellent gymnastics here in the first rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Towson really having, their second meet here today, they're looking really strong. And I think that, as we talked about at the top, Temple has the skills and they're starting to build that consistency under a new head coach and, with a new program in place. They're doing really well, looking really good, and had some really standout performances on vault for sure.
All right, well, let's start with Towson on bars as we look at some highlights from rotation number 1. And clearly in the end spot, Isabella Minervini delivered with a big performance.
Yeah, her routine top to bottom was beautiful. You're taking another look at her huge double layout dismount here. Absolutely flawless. Nailed that stuck landing. And they really needed it. They did have a fall in the middle of that rotation, and there was a little bit of pressure on her for sure, but I didn't see any nervousness. She attacked the routine, and she more than deserved that 9.9 score that she got.
Yeah, after the fall, they got a 9.8 from Valancourt and a 9.9 from Minervini, so really closed strong. Temple, meanwhile, really consistent throughout. Didn't have a score lower than 9.75, but the high point, Lauren, was certainly the vault from Summer Ruskey. What a way to begin her home season, going 9.875.
Yeah, and it ended up being a career best for her. She's been a mainstay in that vault lineup during her time here, and it was great to see her get that stick. Team went crazy, and she, hit that 9.875 mark, jumping all the way up from, a previous performance in past seasons. And she's really been consistent on that event with that Yurchenko full, and I'm excited to see her carry that through for the rest of the season.
All right, so we are ready to head to rotation number 2 as Temple will be on bars. And I think this is going to be an interesting rotation, Lauren, certainly for Temple. This has been the event that Hillary Steele said gave them the most problems in the offseason leading into this year. They feel good about the 6 that they've got in the lineup right now. Reese DeHaan leading off. Angelina Hogan will be second. Emily Johnson third, and then some veterans in the 4, 5, and 6 spots with Brooke Donabedian, Sarah Stallings, and Serena Whalen.
Yeah, they haven't been able to put up that 6 for 6 solid routines yet this season. They played around with the lineups a little bit, and I think that, now some of the younger contributors on this event have a couple meets under their belts. They've kind of gotten those kinks and those nerves out of the way. They're on their own equipment here, so I am personally hoping for a really solid bars lineup here today.
And meanwhile, Towson opened really well last week, I should say, sorry. They started their year on vault with a 49.250 last week. We're going to see some 10-0 vaults here. It'll be Jenna Wheats, Adriana Hoffman, Felicia Poblete, Cami Vidoff, Ratoshia Halsell, and Elise Tisler. We're also expecting an exhibition from Carmela Calafati for Towson. And up first, Jenna Wheats.
Yurchenko full with a big step behind. Got some great height off the table.
Get another look here.
Little bit of leg separation and that step back, but otherwise a solid start.
And now back live, Temple on the bars. Reese DeHaan is up first for the Owls.
Just completing her major connection, piked Jaeger with a shoot over down to the low bar. Giant full, double tuck dismount, just a small hop. I saw a little bit, I couldn't tell if her feet skimmed the floor a bit after that shoot over to the low bar. She had to muscle it just a little bit, but kept it together and had a really solid dismount to kind of cap things off.
And moving along quickly as we go back to vault, Adriana Hoffman up second.
Yurchenko full, a little bit short, had some sort of happy feet at the end there, took a couple stabling steps. She was a tiny bit under-rotated from what I could see, but another solid effort to add to that vault lineup. And we've seen a lot of girls take that step back, but obviously Adriana's vault, she was a little bit under and kind of shuffled those feet a little bit. maybe a couple tenths for those steps that we'll see come off of that score.
So the scores come up for DeHaan, and right now it's a 9-6. So not the start that Temple wanted. Again, you have all that momentum coming off of vault. Just a little struggle in that opening routine. We're going to take another look here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can see those kind of non-chalk marks on the chalky mat there. Her feet did hit, but maybe they did. The judges may not have taken a full fall for that error, maybe up to 2 or 3 tenths, and that's why you'll see that reflected in the 9-6 score for Reese.
So we saw that Towson was able to survive their hiccup on bars. That was a full fall and a 9.25 score, but 9.6 not where Temple wants to be. So now some pressure on their next 5, and it looks as if they're having a little bit of trouble, Lauren, with the bars themselves here to so now you see Coach Steele over with our meet referee to try to get this situation resolved, and we talked about kind of the delays and the timing and things like that. You see Jay Ramirez in on the conversation as well.
As we're waiting to see Adriana Hoffman's score coming in at a 9.625. So as I mentioned, those kind of shuffling steps can each be up to a tenth, so that's why these landings are so emphasized across NCAA.
Yeah, the opening score for Wheats was a 9.775, which was a good start. 9.625 from Hoffman, and now a long wait for Felicia Pablotti. I don't know what the resolution here is on the bar. It appeared that just one of the screws was stuck for, that's my layman's way of putting it. We're looking at kind of that connecting bar between the high and the low bar, and I think what they've decided is rather than continue to make Towson wait, it appears they're going to move forward with the rest of the Towson vault lineup while they attend to the bars. This is Felicia Pablotti up third.
Had that unique vault that we saw last rotation, that full-on tuck off, landed a little bit short. Chest was down, and she had to take that step to catch herself. But I'm always going to give kudos to, doing the unique vault. You'll see that full twist, tuck off.
It's so important to get that block off the table properly to give yourself that height and that amplitude coming off. It is such a difficult vault. The wait continues for Temple over on the uneven bars, and
oh, it appears that it's stripped. It's not holding.
Yep.
We're really giving people the technical overview of this issue, so I hope they enjoy our very.
Yeah, my handyman skills at home are really coming in handy trying to diagnose this problem. Yeah, the screw thing, it keeps spinning, and.
And ultimately, this is a safety issue. So,
right.
They'll probably let Temple or Towson continue their vault rotation, but, until this gets addressed, not going to put a Temple gymnast up on that equipment just on the off chance that that could slide down. It could make, the whole set of bars sort of go wayward. I don't know how to fix that problem, but I'm assuming someone here does.
Yeah, if it's not duct tape, it's beyond my level of expertise, and something tells me that's not it.
That's why we're up here, Kevin, and everybody else is down here.
All we have to do is keep up with the scores on vault. It's a one-team meet for the time being, so we'll continue to roll on here with Towson on vault. This is Cami Vidoff.
Yurchenko full, beautifully done in the air. Speaking of that block that Kevin just mentioned, masterclass in it right there from Cami. Took a couple settling steps, similar, kind of had like a small hop. but a really nice vault to add to Towson's lineup. I think she should be happy with that one.
Now we're going to take another look at this while they continue to operate on the bars here. Beautiful vault for Vidoff.
Yeah, as soon as she gets comfortable finding that landing, that's going to be a huge score.
All right, so they are continuing to work on the bars. You see the score from Poblati comes up as a 9.65, and they are going to have to count that because of the earlier 9.625 from Hoffman. So imperative now for Towson to get some big scores here in the home stretch of their vault lineup. Get back to that 49-plus range that they were in last week in Columbus, Ohio. Well, it appears we've had a breakthrough over on the bars. We've at least got some movement back. That is Temple assistant coach Joel Sugart. He's got a club background from his days in Hawaii and did a lot of equipment setup and breakdown, and he's the man you want on the job right now. So trying to get those bars locked in as we go back to vault Ratoshia Halsell. Whoa!
Huge Yurchenko full.
Oh, my goodness.
And she almost stuck it, but again, something about the Tigers over there on vault have these little settling steps. We'll take one more look at it here, but look at the height, the distance, great body shape. She tried to fight for that stuck landing, it looks like. And I don't know if they'll give it to her. But a really nice vault. Again, it gives you everything you need. Height, block off the table, height, distance, body shape in the air, beautifully done.
That's her first career routine, by the way. She didn't compete last week at Ohio State. That's a shot in the arm to the Towson vault lineup to bring in that vault. Wow.
Yeah, and if that's her first outing on vault,
yeah, it's a pretty good start.
Amazing. Your first competition, you're always a little shaken up a little bit.
All right, well, we are back after a long layoff on bars. Angelina Hogan up second after the opening 9-6 from Temple.
It looks as though they're going to give...
Are they doing a... Oh.
Yeah, I think they're going to give them a little touch-up, a little freshen up.
Okay.
I'm sure the head judge agreed to give, maybe each remaining athlete for Temple one more kind of go on the bars just because they've been standing around.
All right, back on vault. Elise Tisler finishing up.
And another beautifully done Yurchenko full with just a small hop. I really loved how high her chest was on the landing. Get one more look at it here. Great position in the air. She goes out of frame. That's how high she was, and she just had that little slide back of a hop.
Well, we said they needed some big scores at the bottom of their vault lineup, and looks as if they're in a position to do that. Waiting on the number for Halsell, and then Tisler's score from just now. And the warm-up period continues here for Temple on the uneven bars. Well, we talked earlier, Lauren, about how dual meet affects your timing. When you're used to the quad, you get your score and you go. And this is a new one. Been doing this a long time. This is I remember having to change out a beam in Stegman Coliseum at Georgia. We literally just had to carry it out of the arena and wait for a new one to come in. But short of that, this is definitely the longest in rotation delay I can remember seeing.
One of the years that I was here, and I'm not entirely sure which one it was, we had to remove an entire set of bars, and we competed in the practice gym.
A shudder just went down the spine of everyone in the ESPN control room thinking about that happening here. Oh, beautiful exhibition vault for Towson finishing up. That is Carmela Calafati.
And it's nice to see Towson seems pretty deep on vault. They have every single one of their vaults has been really nicely done, albeit just, looking for those sticks. When it comes to Eagle Championships, regionals, and things like that, for years, sticks will win you meets, and that's on every event. Those controlled landings are everything. So, but I think they should be really happy with where they sit in meet 2 of their season, and with depth like that, they'll be really, really solid throughout the rest of this year.
Totally. I think you said it. There were a couple of those vaults. You look at Hoffman, Halsell, a couple of vaults that looked fine in the air that, almost just looked like they may not have trusted the landing fully, and when they get to that point, I think it could be a different story. So they were 0.4 off of where they were last week on vault, 48.8 for Towson. So at the midpoint, just a shade under that 196 pace. Remember, they opened their season last year 195. Opened their season last week 195.225 in Columbus, and now we're going to get a steady diet of bars here as Towson is finished competing, and we will stick with Temple the rest of the way. And finally, Angelina Hogan gets to compete.
Nice Maloney. Little shy on that handstand, but a solid shoot over down to the low bar. I do not envy Angelina's position right now, having to go first after that weight. She's handling it well. Nice giant full double tuck and a stuck landing to finish it off. Really nice way to get Temple back in the swing of things, pun intended.
Yeah, that you cannot overstate the difficulty of, I mean, that had to be close to 15 minutes of real time at least in between events here, with the extra touch warm-up in the middle of it. And yeah, great finish there by Angelina Hogan.
Yeah, I really liked the style of the way that she swings bars. I think with a little bit of confidence that she builds, that will be a solid routine for years to come here for the Owls.
All right, so we still have 4 bars routines to go. There are no exhibitions for Temple. Emily Johnson, Brooke Donabedian, Sarah Stallings, and Serena Whalen.
And I believe the score, if I saw correctly, for Angelina is a 9.725, so a solid way to get things back up and running over on bars.
Yeah, remember, because it was so long ago, Rista Hahn opened with a 9.6, so that is the score that Temple would love to drop here if they hope to maintain their lead. Towson, meanwhile, has got to deal with having a mini bye now. They're going to have so long to wait in between.
And this is what I talked about with the pressure of a dual meet. I mean, Towson has fully done their rotation, so it is a one girl up, all eyes on you situation for the rest of this Temple bar lineup.
Emily Johnson up third for the Owls.
Another Maloney, nicely done. Great swing out of that one with a beautiful bail down to the low bar. Her lines look really nice. Double A dismount. Really nice landing. The girls are loving it, as they should. Exquisite form from Emily on that routine. Let's take one more look at this dismount. She had a little shuffle, I think, so I don't know if they'll give her the full stick, but beautifully done. Nothing to complain about for sure on that routine from Emily.
She was so excited she forgot to high-five her assistant coach. You know, these things happen in the heat of battle.
He said, I'll wait. I'll wait.
He'll take the routine over the high-five for sure.
Exactly.
He deserves a high-five. He got us the bars fixed.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a high-five.
Yeah, he needs one after this. Well, the high score this season for Emily Johnson was a 9.75. She's going to be well above that, and it is indeed a 9.825 for Johnson. Very well deserved. And can really set the tone for a very veteran back half of this Temple Bars lineup. Brooke Donabedian, though, not the event that Donabedian has had the most experience on. She's been so good for so long on beam and floor, bringing bars into her repertoire as well. Part of the everyday bars lineup this season for Temple.
Yeah, but the one thing that remains consistent with Brooke as she goes into a third event compared to her normal beam and floor positions, the toe point, even the style that I've seen from her on bars carries over. I think she's one of those gymnasts that, you know, you can't help but want to watch. She's just got beautiful toe point. She'll go free hip to a Ginger. Immediate shoot over, catches a little close, but manages to stay all together. Nice handstand, giant full, double tuck dismount, and a hop back. Pulls it all together, another good hit for the Owls.
That took an enormous amount of fight to get through that one, for sure.
And Brooke is tiny. I mean, most of the girls are, but she is on the tinier side, and as a tinier gymnast as well, I can resonate with the distance she has to travel between high bar and low bar is very far. So, you know, I think she did a great job. Great work on the dismount. And as we talked about, I think that Temple just needs to focus on hitting 6 routines, and they're well on their way to that right now with this lineup.
And that's her first hit of the season on bars, so I'm sure that had to feel good for her to fight through the middle of that, the middle portion of that routine through the release, and get a hit, 9-7, and she can try to build from there as the season goes on. So Owls have done well after the restart. They still have 2 routines left, Sarah Stallings and Serena Whalen.
On bars, Sarah Stallings.
Sarah, a huge piece to this bar lineup, incredibly consistent, beautiful bar worker. She'll go blind change to a piked Jaeger. Just out of reach on that one. So unfortunately, Temple is going to have to count that early 9-6 from Reese DeHaan, but get Sarah back up to finish this routine.
Yeah, and so now an enormous amount of pressure on the next routine from Serena Whalen.
I did that thing that all commentators aren't supposed to do and say consistency.
Yeah.
So I apologize to Sarah Stallings.
Send your hate mail to Lauren Capone.
Yeah. She'll go giant full, double tuck dismount, just the hop, finishes things up cleanly, and I'll never say consistency again.
That's right. All right, so now 1 routine left for Temple, and it becomes a very important one. This meet will tighten up considerably now as Temple is going to count that 9-6 from DeHaan. 9-7-2-5 from Hogan. The high score remains the 9-8-2-5 from Emily Johnson, 9-7 from Donna Bedian. The score here from Stallings, and then Serena Whalen, senior for Temple, beginning her senior season at home to finish things up.
And a great bar worker, career high of 9.925, so has the capability to score very high with this bar routine.
Yeah, she's been so consistent in this Temple lineup for years. Exactly who you want in the anchor position if you're Temple.
And it's such a fun routine. It's packed with difficulty, some skills you don't see every day.
Let's give me an 8-9-5 from Stallings.
Just waiting on the judges' signal here.
All right, and ready to go. Last routine of the second rotation, Serena Whalen.
She'll go immediate shoot over. Back to the high bar. Nice handstand to a Dekachev in between the bars. Nicely done. Just gearing up for the dismount. Highly difficult. Gets the stick. Huge for Serena Whalen.
That's a nice punctuation mark on the end of the rotation. Deserves that crown. That was a no-doubter to bring us to the halfway mark.
And I love to see the confidence like that in a bar swinger. Every handstand, you know, there was no hesitation with any moment of that routine. Get its last look at that dismount. Soaks it in. Had to be excited about that one. And that'll give Temple some great momentum going into beam. Had a wonky little bar rotation with some equipment issues, but that's the way you want things to end.
Hey, you talk about the different ways that you're going to get tested over the course of a season. You don't necessarily think about a bracket being stripped, but Temple did. They survived the wait, and they delivered a terrific performance on the uneven bars. You're going to stick around long enough to get you this final score. Big separation between the judges. We had a 9.75 and a 9.9. That's the kind of stuff that'll drive coaches mad, but it works out to a 9.825 for Serena Whalen. And that is a season best for her. It's at 48.675 overall on the uneven bars for Temple, and we'll reset the scores at the halfway point on the other side of this break. 2 rotations in the books. Next, it's Temple on beam, Towson on floor as we return to McGonigal Hall. Halfway home at the Temple home opener. It's an Eagle matchup as the Towson Tigers take on the Temple Owls, and right now it has tightened up considerably. Temple in the lead, but by less than a tenth. 97.750 for the Owls, 97.675 for the Towson Tigers. Kevin Kopp, Lauren Capone with you. And this is a matchup. These two teams will actually see each other down at Towson later this season. They are the host of the 2024 Eagle Championships. And Lauren, they are coming off of no less than a historic season. First time in program history, Eagle champions last season. Most wins of any team in the NCAA, 33 total wins last year. Their highest NQS in program history, program record for 196 scores, 13 all-Eagle selections. Any way you cut it, it was just a remarkable 2023 season for the Towson Tigers.
Yeah, they've always been, kind of a solid team with really, really high performers, and to see them finally kind of break through another ceiling for themselves and reach a new height that they hadn't reached before was awesome to see. And it seems like they're going to continue that success this season from what I've seen thus far today.
I mean, and remember that last year in the old Eagle, you still had the 3 ACC teams in there, so they beat NC State, they beat UNC, they beat Pitt, who have all moved out of the Eagle now as the ACC has added Clemson. They've got their new conference, so Towson certainly the odds-on favorite when you look at all that they bring back this season in 2024. We said that they're going to be kind of the standard by which the remaining Eagle teams judge themselves, and this is why, because of their terrific 2023 season. And Towson, led by Jay Ramirez, what a job he has done with this program in his 5th season. He has really elevated the quality of the gymnastics. He and assistant coach Ashley Sauer have just done a tremendous job down there in Towson.
Yeah, the Eagle, now and, kind of in the couple years past, has become a highly competitive conference with really, really good gymnastics top to bottom. And so to come in and take this program and elevate it already to that conference championship status is nothing short of impressive, and Jay's doing an incredible job.
If you want to put it in basketball terms, they're becoming like a mid-major powerhouse. They're becoming one of those teams like a Gonzaga type that can get out of a smaller conference and really make a dent, not just in their conference, but in regionals as well. That's the next goal, is to try to reach that final 16 for Towson, and we'll see if they can do it under Coach Ramirez in 2024, and we'll see what they can do here as they head to floor. Temple will be on beam when we return. Third rotation underway here at McGonigal Hall. Renee Shugman leading off on beam for the Owls.
Renee, a mainstay in this #1 spot. You saw that aerial connection. She has been the leadoff for Temple almost her whole career here, I believe. Last couple weeks, I think they tried to play with the lineup, but she's back and sticking her dismount, showing exactly why she is made to be a leadoff on beam. It is not an easy position, but she does it beautifully. Got that stick on that round off 1.5 dismount. Gets things going for Owls over on beam.
And she's really selfless as well, because she's a senior now. This is a beam routine that could score probably higher if she were dropped further in the lineup, and you had the chance to let some scores build in front of her. So really selfless to go up there and kind of take one for the team, so to speak, to go up first, but understands the importance of that spot in the lineup, and that's just the type of gymnast that she is and has been for Temple in her career. So Shugman gets things started for Temple in rotation 3. Now we go over to floor for Elise Tisler.
And we saw Elise on vault, absolutely huge vault. And here she is on floor. Front leg, front Rudy, nicely done. You'll see a lot of gymnasts, I think, that kind of double up vault and floor. They have that knack for those power events, as many will call them.
Yeah, she finished up with that really nice 9.85 over on the vault. And get to start here on floor.
Nice full splits on those leaps. Judges are always looking for 180 degrees in any jump or split. Back 1.5 front lay, really nicely done. And a great start for Towson on floor. I think this meet's going to get really interesting between these two teams heading into the back half of this dual meet.
Well, yeah, extremely little separation to start this third rotation, less than a tenth. 3/4 of a tenth between the two teams as we look at the third pass here from, or the final pass here from Tisler.
So nicely done, showing her power and also really great form throughout.
Now up second on beam for Temple, this is Summer Ruski.
Back-to-back of our, strong vault performers. We saw career best from Summer over on vault earlier, and here she is up on beam. Handspring layout step out, pulls that right up. She does a beat jump, front toss, a unique kind of combination jump skill. Gets her a little bit of bonus. Her leap series there. From my angle, maybe a little bit shy of 180 degrees. She'll get ready for her dismount. Back handspring, back 1.5. Grabs the stick. Soaks that one in. Those sticks can be very contagious for sure. Keeps the ball rolling over on beam.
Yeah, what a terrific night for Ruski. You mentioned the success that she had on vault earlier, and I think that they would love to get in a position where they can see the kind of consistency from Ruski to put her in that leadoff spot, maybe drop Shugman down in the lineup, and I mean, if you get more of that, there you go. Problem solved. That was a terrific routine. Mackenzie Aresta, Madison Durunda, Sarah Stallings, and Brooke Donabedian round out the beam lineup for Temple. We'll also see Serena Whalen in an exhibition routine for the Owls. And over on floor, we're just now getting the scores in for Tisler. And then it will be Clara Hong, Jenna Wheats, Carmela Calafati, Isabella Minervini, and then Grace Valancourt in the anchor spot. We're also going to get an exhibition on floor for Towson from Amanda Petticelli. 9.825 is the opening score for Tisler. No, scratch that. Petticelli not going to exhibition, so it'll be just 6 up here for Towson on floor. 9.825, really good opening score for Tisler.
We see a lot of the, obviously, major tumbling passes in these girls' floor routines, but another huge part of floor exercise is the performance value, the performance quality put into the dance. Obviously, every gymnast has their own unique routine. Over rotation there, went out of bounds. We talked about the lines on vault, but that will be an automatic 1/10 deduction in addition to any deductions incurred in the skill itself. Nice leap combination there. Back half, front full. Manages to keep that one on her feet. A little bit of a slip up there for Towson on floor. So as mentioned on other events, that kind of puts some pressure on the rest of the lineup to make sure that they get solid hits to round things out. If not, they'll leave a little bit of an opening for Temple, should Temple keep things right and tight over on beam.
Well, Towson avoided counting that fall on bars earlier, and we'll see if they can do it on floor. But first, we'll go back over to beam, where Temple has gotten off to a fine start. And up third is Mackenzie Aresta. Back-to-back 92.5s for Shugman and Ruski to begin the rotation.
Handspring layout, step out. A little bit of a balance check there, but keeps it on. Nice fight from Aresta there. B-jump straddle 3/4, another tiny balance check, but keeping things together. I can see a little bit of nerves from Aresta, kind of moving even from movement to movement, but she's gearing up for her dismount. Back handspring, back 1.5. Keeps it on her feet. Incredible fight from Aresta. Adds another hit routine to Temple's lineup. They'll keep things rolling. And I think she, was looking her career best on beam, only at a 9.3. And I do think that routine will get her up and above that today. Just a couple balance checks on some of those things, but nicely done. Yeah,
another one of those gymnasts that's a veteran by class here, but hasn't had a whole lot of competition experience on this event. And absolutely, just to work through some struggles to stay on the beam, limit those to, just a tenth or two on the balance checks. It makes a big difference. And so, good fight there from Aresta. We'll see how much the judges take. And right now we have judges conferencing over on floor. From the one judge, the scores that we can see, they have a 9-9 start, and that could be part of it. The scores could be separated by too much, or they could have a different opinion on the start value. And remember that Hong did have both that fall and that stumble out of bounds. So that does, bring in some extra wiggle room in terms of what the judges can take. Either way, this will be the score that Towson looks to drop, and they've got Jenna Wheats standing by, ready to go third. Speaking of large separations, I think we're going to have a meeting on beam as we have a 9.75 and a 9.5 between the two judges.
Looks like we're getting things settled here on floor. All part of the process here.
Conversation over on beam is continuing, but we appear to have a verdict at least on floor. We'll see if they are willing to share it with us. They changed to a 10-0 start. And if I have to guess, I'm seeing the explanation come into Jay Ramirez, and I think he's asking the same thing that I'm asking in my head, which is, well, wait a minute. You had it at a 9.3, starting from a 9.9, then you changed the start value to a 10, but gave her a 9.2. 8.95 appears to be the final verdict for Hong on floor, regardless. And we move on to Jenna Wheats up third.
And it looks like Aresta over on beam after their conference, a 9.625. First pass, front through to double tuck. A little bit of a short landing, but keeps it on her feet. Really nice dance there, unique, kind of hitting that ring jump after her leap there. I'll be curious to watch through, the lineups more and more over the last good number of years. There's been more gymnasts only doing 2 passes in their floor routines, getting enough bonus through their dance and combination passes to reach it. Double pike, nicely done. Takes a little bit of the need for extra conditioning if you only have 2 passes, which Jenna did have. Ends things really nicely with that double pike. Really only I saw that kind of first landing on that front through pass, but we'll get one more look at her final double pike. Really nicely done. Now on floor, gymnasts are allowed to take 1 step backwards out of a pass. As long as it is controlled, there will be no deduction there.
Yeah, she got stronger as that routine went on, and now we'll go back over to beam. Madison Durunda up 4th.
Huge triple series, brings up that front foot but manages to keep it down with some control. I love that triple series. I think that in the air it is textbook triple series, a lot of bonus, highly difficult, and not necessary but impressive nonetheless when you do see those triple flight series over on beam. Full turn. She'll go cartwheel back 1.5, grab a stick. Owls are feeling good over on beam thus far.
Yeah, 4 for 4 for Temple. First 3 went season highs. Shugman matched hers with a 9.825. Rusky, new season high 9.825. Aresta 9.625, first hit routine. And to look at the finish by Durunda there.
She currently has a career high of 9.875. Never quite broached that 9.9 mark just yet.
Back over on floor exercise, up 4th, Carmela Calafati.
Front double full to a front pike, huge difficulty there.
You see the floor score coming in now for Wheats was a 9.7. Good bounce back after the fall.
Switch side Popa. She did a Rudy to a back layout, immediate straddle jump. Really unique and cool pass. Another 2-pass athlete, but nicely done, getting things back on track over on floor for the Tigers.
We'll get another look here.
This is that front double full. That's an E level skill, so the most difficult that you can do over on the floor exercise. And that last pass, super unique.
Back live now over on the beam, Sarah Stallings. This is following a 9.825 that you're seeing come up on your screen now from Madison Durunda.
Handspring, layout step out. Comes off. So similar but a bit different to Durunda's triple series. She did 2 back handsprings and then that layout step out. Sarah not having, her best day thus far, but you can never deny the quality of her gymnastics. She gears up for that round off 1.5 dismount. Nicely done. Even after a fall, you see the exquisite toe point, the lines, the control. She's been such a stunning gymnast through and through. One more look at that dismount round off 1.5.
And we will go back over to floor now. Isabella Minervini. Calafati scored a 9-8, so Towson starting to pick up the scores again. They've got Minervini and Valancourt as their last two.
She'll go layout, front Rudy. I saw the judge put her hand up, so she must have seen that, that foot did step out of bounds, and so we'll incur that automatic 1/10 deduction. A lot of high energy, dynamic music over from Towson. I really enjoyed, the song selections they've put together to have their little floor party. Double pike. A really strong routine from Bella, just that step out of bounds.
Probably won't get back to where she was last week in 9.875. Floor was Towson's strongest event in the opener at Columbus. They got into an issue on beam, and so we'll get to that in the fourth and final rotation. But this is obviously an event that they feel good on, and you can see a good finish there from Minervini. The score for stalling is going to be a 9.025.
On beam, Brooke Donabede.
And so they need a hit routine. They've got Brooke Donabedian in the anchor spot, exactly who you would want if you're Temple right now.
I mentioned this while she was on bars, but just truly an artistic gymnast. Every line, every moment pose could be a photograph. Just really enjoy watching this routine and her work on beam as well as floor, which we'll see coming up here.
Yeah, floor is just outstanding to watch, and that'll be a whole heck of a lot of fun to cap off the meet for Temple.
She does switch leap to a double stag jump, so in that double stag she actually loses sight of the beam, creating somewhat of a blind landing, so a little bit more difficult than maybe what meets the eye. Front aerial back handspring, beautifully done. Flashes a smile to the judges. Side semi. Last week she had a bit of a balance check on that skill, but nailed it today. Great to see. Gearing up for her dismount. Round off back 1.5. Grabs the stick. Love to see it. Great hit to close out that rotation for the Owls, especially when they needed it most.
Yeah, that's huge from Donabedian. Senior comes up big for Temple in a big spot following a fall. They will drop that, and what a way to move on to floor. Trying to do the same here, dropping an earlier fall. If they can get a hit routine in the anchor position, Grace Valancourt for Towson.
Little Taylor Swift intro. Shout out to all the Swifties out there. Back 1.5 layout, flawless, beautiful lines. Nice 180 degrees on those leaps and jumps.
Valancourt had a team best 9.9 last week on floor to open her season.
Yeah, She's got great quality of movement. All of her movements really going like from fingertips to toes. I always think about, you know, being on floor, you have to make sure the people all the way in the back can see what you're doing. So the bigger the dance, farther it reaches out into the crowd. Rudy to a straddle jump. A little bit of a funky kind of placement with her feet on the landing there, but nicely done. And closes things out in just the way that Towson needed her to. And clean hit, be able to drop that fall score from earlier.
All right, now we have an exhibition on beam. This will be our last routine before we take a break and get set for the fourth and final rotations. This will not count toward the team score. You see the number come up for Donna Bedian. It is a 9.875. Serena Whalen exhibitioning now for Temple.
Handspring layout, step out. Comes off on that series. Tried to fight to get that chest up, but just, you know, couldn't get there in time. Switch leap split jump, really nicely done. Hitting those 180-degree marks. Little hesitation in between that jump and that leap, so judges can take a little bit of a deduction there. Serena not a first-time beamer. Career high of 9.775. Cartwheel, back 1.5 in a tucked position. Takes the step, finishes things up. Exhibitions, again, always just great getting reps in a pressure situation. You know, there is no pressure for the score to count, but it's still just as nervous getting up there with the entire arena looking at you, even when you know your score doesn't count. So it's always good to sort of get those pressure sets under your belt to test, you know, make sure the depth of your team is prepared for anything.
Well, and as you know, Lauren, you get to your senior season, you start counting down those routines, especially the ones you have at home, and so a chance to be out here for Serena on this McGonigal Hall floor as well is a meaningful one. It looks like the discussion continuing over on floor, but I think that number is finally 9.825 for Grace Valancourt in the anchor position. So both teams got the hits that they needed when they needed them. They avoid counting the fall, and we will get ready to go to the fourth and final rotation here. This should be a very good finish between Towson and Temple. Get you set for it when we come back. It's largest food bank. Kevin Cott, Lauren Capone with you here inside McGonigal Hall. And we are heading to the fourth and final rotation. You can see where the scores stand. Temple is on top by 0.2, 146.725 to 146.525 after Temple opened their lead slightly, 48.975 on beam, 48.850 for Towson on floor. One event left, Towson on beam, where they struggled last week in Columbus. Temple on floor exercise here at home. Lauren, always a chance to score big on your home floor and finish off the night for Temple, trying to protect a 2/10 lead. We'll see what they're able to do.
Yeah, this is exactly where Temple wants to be going into this event. Traditionally, and this season, already their best event. They've gotten really nice scores. They've got huge veteran players in this floor lineup that can score big. And Temple, you know, maybe I'm a little biased, but it has always been where we shine. So I'm excited to see sort of the Temple floor party that they're putting together here. I caught a little bit of floor warm-ups earlier, and it was super fun and exciting, so I'm looking forward to it.
This is the first of 3 times that these teams are going to see each other this season. Temple will go down to Towson for a duel on Friday, February 23rd, and then Towson is hosting the Eagle Championships on March 23rd. 18th meeting all-time, with Towson leading the series 11-6 and 4-0 as members of the Eagle Conference. Temple looking for their first win over Towson at home, and that last meeting on March 12th actually came in the Eagle Championships. Temple from the afternoon session, a 196.250, but Towson with that program 196.525, that program milestone, taking home the Eagle title for the first time, the last time that these teams competed against each other.
Yeah, again, it's a great rivalry, and having been a part of it at one time, shout out to my 2014 team, first ever team to put a 1 in that win column for Temple. So it's always been kind of a good punchy little rivalry between these two schools, and I think we're seeing it here tonight. I mean, it's been neck and neck. It's really close, being as close as less than a tenth. After I think it was the second rotation, it's an intense environment down there, but they're having fun, and there's really good gymnastics on both sides, so it's a good watch. Absolutely.
And we expect that will continue as we head to the 4th rotation. Temple finishing up on floor, and Towson on beam when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Kopp, Lauren Capone with you here at McGonigal Hall. You look at the scores as we enter the final rotation. Temple up by 0.2, 146-725. Towson 146-525. Both teams avoided counting a fall in the 3rd rotation thanks to some big performances by their anchors. Let's look at some highlights from rotation 3. And we'll begin with Towson's Grace Valancourt on floor exercise. This was a big score when they needed to have it, Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely lights out routine from Grace. That back 1.5 front layout, nearly flawless. And she brought a lot of sass and attitude to that routine, which you love to see. That front Rudy straddle jump to close things out for her over on floor and really give the Tigers exactly what they needed.
And for Temple on beam, they had a fall in the 5th position from Sarah Stallings, so they needed a hit routine from Brooke Donabedian, and she did more than just hit. 9.875. She really delivered in that anchor position.
Yeah, nailed that stuck landing. I will say I was very impressed from the whole lineup. Those dismounts were lights out from the Owls, top to bottom. It's good to see. Big smiles from Donabedian. Cheers from the team. As you mentioned, needed it most, and they're headed to their best event here on floor exercise at home.
Yeah, they need a 49.275 here in the 4th and final rotation to get a 196 here at home. And we started by talking about those 449s. You want to be in that 196 range. But first, we'll see if Towson can get their night or finished well on beam after having some struggles with it last week in Columbus. A chance to get back out there and perform here on the road. And they'll be led off by Isabella Minervini,
who had another great performance on floor as well, going right before Grace. Front aerial back handspring, nicely done. Beat jump, split 3/4. She's looking nice and calm, which is always what you want to see from a beam worker. Moving through things really gently with control. Another leap series with a tiny balance check on that landing. Side aerial takes a step back, but manages to keep things together. Back full dismount off the side, grabs a stick to round out a really good afternoon for Minervini. Another look at that dismount. Really, really well done.
Yeah, 9.9 on bars in the anchor position, 9.7 on floor, and getting the night started there on balance beam for the Tigers. And now over to floor exercise. Summer Ruskew's having a terrific night in her own right. 9.875 vault, 9.825 on beam. She'll get things started on floor.
Been the lead off here now for a couple seasons, I believe. Some new choreography this year that I've really enjoyed. Punch through to double tuck. Nice, bringing the chest up on that landing. Playing right along with her teammates there on the side. Getting things kicked off on this lineup with high energy in this music and this routine. it's always nice to see, when the girls really get settled in, they really start to perform these routines. Double pike to close things out. Beautifully done. Have yourself a day, Summer. What a nice afternoon that she's had on those 3 events that we saw her.
Yeah, what an awesome start here to her home season.
Another look at that first pass. And this double pike, really well done. It's so nice to see, when those chests land up like that. She took that little small step back, which they're allowed to do over on floor.
All right, Minervini started on beam with a 9.775. This is Clara Hong, who had the issue on floor. Trying to bounce back here on beam.
Side aerial, a unique flight series, kind of doubling up on that skill. Tricky to connect, and she did it beautifully. Split jump straddle 3/4. She's got great leg extension, again, really emphasizing that 180 degrees in her leaps and jumps. Punch full off the end, takes a step back, but a great routine for Hong over on beam, keeping things rolling for the Tigers.
All right, meanwhile, Summer Ruski started things off for Temple with a 9.8. That matches her season best. As you look at the dismount there, just step back on the landing. Overall, Hong, a good job to follow the 9.775 for Minervini. Up second is Madison Durunda.
Durunda, another mainstay of this floor lineup. Couple years now. Huge double tuck to open things up. She even was kind of open in her body position as well. Super impressive. She'll go punch layout Rudy as her second and final pass. Nicely done.
Well, Temple 2 for 2, and certainly, Lauren, this is an event where you can make the most amount of difference. Just being on your home floor, I think you can see this was already a strong event for Temple, but you could see kind of a different performance quality coming out so far from the Owls.
And even just the energy from the team, they seem super relaxed and having a good time down there, which I think always makes a huge difference just to the general energy that'll come through the lineup.
All right, Hong went 9.825 on balance beam, so up third, Jenna Wheats.
Switch leap standing layout step out. I'm always a little envious of the beam workers that do just make it look so easy and effortless when we definitely know that it is not. Front aerial back handspring. Nice connected series there. Huge jumps there. Cartwheel, gainer full off the side, a little wobbly on the landing, but another great hit over for the Tigers.
Well, Towson has 2/10 to make up on Temple in this final rotation. The Owls have not made it easy so far. Back-to-back 9-8s from Summer Ruski and Madison Derunda. Look at Wheats finishing up there. So far, the team's even through their first two. Now, this is this is not the position you want to be holding
when the music doesn't work.
Correct.
My God, my back hurts.
Yeah, and in fact, that's a good call. She'll just reset. I mean, that's a tough one.
Hey, that's a risk that Hannah was willing to take.
That's true. Yeah, so just a little issue getting her music queued up. We've seen a little bit of everything here on this home opening night. This is a good job by Hillary Steele to come over, just have a chat, keep her loose, I think is really all you're trying to do right now.
And the wait, well worth it. Really unique choreography here from Hannah. Open things up, back 1.5 layout. Huge, beautifully done. You know, as I mentioned, each girl's choreography is sort of unique to them, and it's nice to see sort of Hannah highlighting her flexibility in all sorts of ways through this routine and also having a lot of fun with it. You'll see teammates all the time. Every team, you know, kind of happens to memorize, you know, all of their teammates' choreography throughout the season, and being at home, it's always fun. Extra amount of energy kind of pulsing through you. Rudy, split jump, beautiful. She'll close things out here with some jumps and a same show off of that beautiful flexibility. I saw the Diamond Gems behind nodding in approval, so you know you're doing something right on floor when the dance team approves.
A nice routine here by Stallings, and Temple is 3 for 3 on floor.
Yeah, with hardly a beat missed from any of them. Just a really solid showing thus far.
And so we go back over to beam now. Steph Makasu is up fourth for Towson. Wheats also 9.825, so the Tigers trying to make up a little bit of ground.
Nice flight series. I've been seeing some great artistry from Towson over on beam as well. Looks like a little balance check. Maybe she had one more jump to add to that connection. Adds in her beat jump there. Tosses a wink to the judges. Gets the stick on the dismount.
Well, and I think I mentioned it a couple times that Towson struggled last week on beam 47-750, but this is not a team that really has to beam as a worry. They're an excellent beam team. They have been for a number of years, and they are showing a nice bounce back, and I think a lot more like what they are capable of.
Absolutely, and you know, those first meet kind of jitters, they got out of the way. Anybody new in the lineup there. But certainly showing no signs of fear or hesitation today.
Hannah Stallings, by the way, scored a 9.85. You can see that number come up on the bottom of your screen. That matches a career high score for Stallings, so excellent performance there. And Temple still has 3 left: Peyton Monk, Renee Shugman, and Brooke Donabedian. So you have Monk, a freshman, will get to deliver her first routine here in McGonigal Hall, and then 2 veterans in Shugman and Donabedian who have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, I caught Peyton's routine from last weekend when they were at George Washington University, and it is fun. So I am excited to see it on home turf. She's a powerful gymnast, but she's also got a lot of fun dance involved in her routine, and I think that doing it at home is going to be something really special, and we're going to all get to see it and enjoy it together here.
Here we go. Peyton Monk, Temple freshman, first routine on her home floor.
Kicking things off already with lots of fun dance, even before her first pass here. Front through to double pike, beautiful. And a party through and through nonstop thus far. Which is awesome to see from a freshman. I mean, it's nerve-wracking to be on floor, in your first year, but to add this level of performance quality, I think that we're going to see a lot of good things from Peyton.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's the last piece of the puzzle to come together, even when you have freshmen that come in and can tumble really well. To put it all together in the context of a collegiate floor routine, she's got that. You can imagine, with the departures of Shugman and Donabedian looming after this season, you can imagine this being an anchor routine for Temple in years to come.
Yeah, I saw her leaps there a little shy on the 180, but something that's certainly not detracting. Her next pass, front double full. Again, really difficult pass. And so much fun. Nicely done.
Yeah, you can tell it's just the kind of routine that's going to become a crowd favorite, and she really delivered. And again, only 2 passes, but that finishing with a front double full, yeah, that's another look at the first pass, that front through to double pike. And
this double full, rock solid.
Yeah.
Legs glued together, controlled landing. Wearing that stick crown with pride.
A couple of great debuts tonight for Temple, home debuts. Judges are getting together over on Beam. This must be a missed connection issue. I'm trying to see. We have a 9.6 start, 9.5 start value from at least the judge on the near side, whose individual score we can see.
And I think I did note in that last routine there was sort of a jump and leap series that appeared to maybe have a balance check and perhaps had an additional jump that was supposed to go with the series of jumps and leaps. And I wonder if that is maybe where some things fell through for the judges.
Well, Temple wearing it out on floor. Meanwhile, it is a 9.85 from Peyton Monk. That matches her season and career best total. And the Owls have gone 9.8, 9.8, 9.85, 9.85. So the table is certainly set for Shugman and Donabedian as the Owls close in on that 196. It's already far and away shattering likely their season high score.
Yeah, and I just think they've looked a lot more comfortable and solid compared to what I kind of peeped on the last few meets early in the season. And as I mentioned, I think at the top of the broadcast, I think today was about getting hits. Not necessarily focusing on the perfection or the biggest, but making sure that you're putting together a complete day where you're not counting a fall or a major mistake, and they're well on their way to doing that today. Things on beam look to be settled, so judges are just going to reset here.
Let's see what prevailed in that discussion. Looks as if they've agreed on a 9.8 start value. So either way, this is going to be the number that Towson is going to have to drop. You know, from obviously in a duel, the win and loss aspect is salient, but also you want the best road score possible for Towson. 9.625 for Makasu, and now you have Lauren Keener on the beam for the Tigers.
Handspring layout, step out, fights and keeps it on. Her first back handspring looked a little high, and I wonder if that threw her off just a little bit. But as a seasoned professional, she was able to keep things together there nicely. Solid leaps and jumps. Cat leap to a front toss and immediate beat jump. Smallest of balance checks there, but very nicely done. Just the dismount, gainer full off the side, grabs the stick, puts a nice punctuation on the end, and manages to pull together another hit. Couple balance checks, but keeping things on the beam of, you know, paramount importance for them right now.
I think that's kind of been the story tonight for Towson. We certainly cleaned up some of the bigger mistakes from a week ago, and you could see where there's some little tweaks and ability to fine-tune, clean up just some of those 1/10, 2/10 deductions. And again, this is an event that has been and should be really solid for them. Meanwhile, we go back to floor where Temple has gone back-to-back 9.85s for Stallings and Monk, and now Renee Shugman, the first of two seniors to finish up.
Back 1.5 front layout. Another new routine, sort of choreographed, different from last year. And I think all of their routines have been really fun. And the girls seem really comfortable with them, which, to our point, you know, sometimes is the last piece of the puzzle, but I'm seeing a lot of comfortability, which is great to see. She'll end things here with a double pike. Beautifully done. It's sky high every time. And another solid hit from Shugman.
So Temple has gone 5 for 5. And the stage is set for Donna Beatty, and there's a look at that beautiful double pike, and you can't necessarily get as much a feel for it looking from overhead just at how high that was. And she got quite as much amplitude as she might have liked to on that first pass, but left no doubt on the double pike. So great finish. Donna Beatty remains, but first the final competition routine for Towson will be Chase Williams over on beam.
Chase, a specialist here on beam, the only event she is competing for the Tigers today. Beautiful layout step out, nothing to take on that one. Front aerial, tiny bit of a balance check. Really challenging leap series there that she had a bit of a bobble on and then missed sort of that beat jump that came after. So all of those leaps and jumps that the gymnasts put together do usually amount to some amount of bonus. They're obviously meeting some requirements, but she'll go for the dismount, lands a little short and has to hop forward. No fall from Chase, but certainly a number of balance checks there. I believe there was a 9-6 that Towson was looking to drop, and so we'll see if they're able to, Chase was able to squeak out a couple tenths to push that up a bit.
Finishing up the competition for Temple, Brooke Donabedian, one of the best floor workers in the country. This is one to watch, certainly, and a chance to perform it at home, always special.
Yeah, currently, tied with herself and one other alumni for the floor record. Front Rudy, back layout step out, done with so much style. A lot of people do that pass, but I would argue that no one does it better than Brooke.
Yeah, career high program record is a 9.95.
And another new routine from Brooke here. Super difficult leg up, 1.5 turn. Another one of those skills that's not necessary, but certainly always impressive, something that judges enjoy taking the extra step on with that turn. She'll finish up here, front double full. Nailed it. Beautifully done. A joy to watch. She jumps up and down and closes things out formally for the competitive routines. Another look at that front pass. I could watch it all day long. It is so cool. It's so well done. And this front double full, highly difficult. And she manages to keep that toe point in there, which is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, the other thing that is so impressive about Donabedian is just her consistency. Is week to week, that just looks like a carbon copy. Meanwhile, how about this to close off the meet? Well, let's wait on the final scores, and we'll get the exhibitions first for Chelsea Dennis up first for Towson on beam.
Hits that handspring layout step out. Moving through those leaps and jumps. Really nice for an aerial with a lot of height. A sheep jump, which you don't see all the time, and similar, another one of those jumps where the gymnast has to take their eyes off of the beam before landing. Back handspring, gainer full, little hop, great routine. Solid exhibition.
A really nice job there by Dennis. So that will finish up the night for Towson. That score that you see there, 195-325, is final, as that 9-5 from Chase Williams didn't affect the overall team score. That number is dropped. High scores, those 9.825s from Hong and Wheats in the 2 and 3 spots. We are awaiting the final total for Donabedian. It's a top 10 score all time in program history for Temple already, that 195-825. They're going to improve on it slightly here. 9.875 for Donabedian. And Temple is going to finish with a 195.9 unofficially tonight. So just a tenth shy of that magic number 196, where Temple's only been 6 times in program history. As it stands now, this is sole possession of 8th place all time in the history of the program. So pretty good way to open up your home season in just week 3 of the year.
Without a doubt, and I think they kind of needed this as a confidence boost. Those first couple meets, obviously on the road, challenging enough with a new head coach, new girls in the mix, kind of working out the kinks. I think coming home, having a solid top-to-bottom meet, and hitting a beautiful top 10 program record score, I think it's going to set them off into a really good series of meets coming up here in the next few weeks.
All right, but first, an exhibition. This is Megan White to finish up the night for Temple.
Back 1.5 front pike. Double tuck. Takes a couple steps back, but keeps it on her feet. White closing things out for the evening. Nicely done. A freshman getting those reps in. Just a couple landings to work on, but another solid floor routine to add to the depth of that Temple floor squad.
When you look at those final unofficial scores in the corner of your screen, 195.9 for Temple and Towson, 195.325, so they improved by a tenth on their week one performance, get another mid-195, low to mid-195 road score. Certainly not going to hurt them, but the improvement that we've seen from Temple in the early season, this is week 3. It's already their 4th meet, so they've had plenty of reps, and you look at this improvement, 192.250 at Penn in the Keystone Classic, really struggled in that West Virginia meet, that short turnaround, driving out there, 191.9, picked it up in a big way last week down at George Washington, 194.1, but you see the improvement of 1.8 from last week to this week. To be scraping a 196 this early in the season is a very encouraging sign for Temple.
Yeah, I think what we saw from them today is what we can come to expect for the rest of the season. I think that starting off a season with a double meet weekend, I applaud them for it. That is no easy feat. And I really liked what I saw here today, and I think that they, like I mentioned, got some confidence, got some really good individual performances, and some really good all-around top-to-bottom event performances to really start building things as they head towards, really not even mid-season yet, so it's great to see.
Yeah, and this should be a good one. These two teams will meet down in Towson on February 23rd, and then at the Eagle Championships, where it really matters who comes out on top. Final scores tonight, Temple 195.9 as they close strong on floor, 49.175. Towson consistent all the way around, 48.8 were above on all 4 events, 195.325, a nice road score tonight for the Towson Tigers. That's going to do it for us here at McGonigal Hall. For my partner, Lauren Capone, I'm Kevin Kopp. So long, everyone, from Philadelphia, where Temple gets the victory tonight with a 195.9. Towson takes a 195.325. All meets airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.